All right, we're on Bird Road at the Miami famous Palacio de los Jugos, and you know we had to come through and get the good stuff. I'm here with Uli. Let's order some real quick. Okay, para mí, una colada si puede.
Un jugo melón, por favor.
When was the last time you had a jugo de melón?
It's been a while, man. Enjoy this. Gracias.
Gracias.
Yeah.
Uli, what makes Miami so special?
The melon juice. No, Miami's a special place, man. It's a melting pot. All different types of people from all different types of the world. I think it's a great place to grow up. Literally, great place to be.
We're both born and raised in Miami, 305 kids. You're 10 years older than I am, so you got to experience a bit of a different Miami growing up than I did.
Yeah.
What are the memories that kind of made you?
I joined the military when I was 18. Got in trouble, got kicked out of the military at 19, put myself in prison as a young man. It was always for fighting on the street. I started traveling the world with Pitbull. Pitbull is my brother. I grew up with him. He was already taking off his trajectory. He was going up in his career, so he took me around the world with him, being his security. But just got myself back into bad situations and started doing the wrong thing again, and you get lost in that, man.
Yeah.
And in the blink of an eye, you go from 25 to 35,
What taught you more, the military or prison?
In the military, I got in at a real young age. It did give me a sense of structure where you had to be at certain places on time. Everything had to be organized and everything that comes with the military. And then once I got to prison, it's kind of the same concept. If you're not on time, you miss it, whether it's meals or classes or anything you got to do. And the thing that prison gives you that it's hard to find in the outside world is that you're in there with a ton of people that are going through a hard time in their life. So you pick up this psychology, you kind of figure out how to flow in conversations and with different people in different situations.
How did that transition into the structure of combat sports, whether it be boxing, MMA, whatever that you've done?
Went back to Fifth Street Gym, which is my gym. I was with those guys since they opened back in 2011. And they took me in with open arms. They made me accountable. Whenever I was missing, if I would miss a day at the gym, they called me because they knew where I was coming from. They didn't want me to step back into it. So like, yo, where you at? Where you at? Being in the gym every day, working my butt off for hours, gave me consistency. And consistency opened many doors for me. If something happens on the street where before I used to let my temper kind of take over, now with all my training, I kind of take a step back, analyze the situation, and move forward accordingly.
It's almost like the more badass you are, the more reserved you are on the street, because
Absolutely.
like, hey, in 3 seconds, it can be over.
Exactly.
But my bad that we brought you to the sun right now. Like, can we get Becky? Can we get some?
Thank you, Becky.
Just for my boy. He's
you.
got 4 rounds sparring here with me verbally.
Yeah.
Verbal sparring.
I didn't know Palacio de los Jugos was a sauna, but
Go on the hell out.
But
It's so hot, I don't even know what I'm talking about. The fans. In prison, did you have somebody kind of showing you the ropes, a teacher, a mentor, somebody like that?
6 months in, there's a guy who came in. His name is Jose Guilarte. I still speak to him to this day. I've been out of prison now almost 20 years, and I still speak to him almost every day. He's still in. He's been in now 41 years in prison.
Really?
So yeah, it puts a huge perspective on life, And me and him would have conversations about me becoming a professional fighter. When I got out, we had these dreams. We still talk about it to this day. He's my biggest fan. As I came out, I was still a young man. I was trying to figure out I had kids. I was married at the time. I was trying to figure out how to feed my family, and all I knew was the streets. So I ended up going back to what I knew.
I'm getting to this interesting part of my life where I'm gonna be a dad, right? My wife's pregnant, she's gonna be due in December of this coming year. And it's like all the things that I thought about parenthood, right? Like seeing from my parents and the people around me and stuff, it's totally different when you realize now you're up to bat and you have to take care of that kid. What was the toughest part about becoming a dad and things that you've gone through in your life with your kids?
Okay, so first off, congratulations on you having a baby. It's a great age to have a kid is early 30s, The toughest part that I've gone through with that is my son last year when he turned 10 years old, they found a tumor in his femur bone. It was a cancerous tumor. That was March of last year. So we spent all of last year in Miami Children's Hospital, Nicholas Children's Hospital. Shout out to them. Shout out to all the nurses at the 6th Tower.
Badasses.
Yeah, badasses, heroes. Not all heroes wear capes, man, and those ladies and those men that work there. A lot of them
wear scrubs, bro.
Exactly. Again, I believe in God. I was asking God to give me my son's sickness, and it didn't happen that way. My son took it at 10 years old, went through, in total, like 28 weeks of chemo, surgery to remove his femur bone and put a new one in. He's back. He's back walking. He's back kicking ass. He's an incredible kid. he has become my hero.
Yeah.
You know, he's in my corner in every fight. He's my coach. Man, that to me was the toughest part of being a parent, was when, you know, it's easy to be a parent when your kids are good and everything's
healthy,
going
right?
healthy and everything's fine. When your kid's sick, man, and it's his life is on the line, man. He's really fighting for his life. He's hooked up to machines for 24 hours a day, for weeks at a time. It really puts a perspective on life, man, and it makes you be thankful, grateful, man, and really, you know, appreciate everything you have and the people around you that really care.
We have a lot more in common than you know. So I, at 5 years old, was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow.
Yeah, and I went through the same thing. I was hooked up as a 5-year-old kid for 28 rounds of chemo, the same thing. And when I see my parents, right, and now I'm gonna be a parent, so I think at this unborn little baby inside my wife's stomach, and I'm like, if I had to go through what my parents went through with me, I don't know how I would do it. So like the strength that my parents showed kind of set me up for life, because I was a cancer survivor at 5, and then I got it again at 28. So I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. So it's like, when you go through those things at different ages, it builds a perspective of, as a kid, I didn't know what was happening, right? We were just going to the hospital. I had a tumor. I don't know if you can see it right here. I have a scar somewhere around here in my neck. I had a tumor like that on my lymph node. Wow. And one
Did you
day,
have the port and everything as well?
I'll show you the scar.
Yeah, my son has the same scar.
Right here.
Yeah.
So at 5 years old, you don't know what's going on. You're a kid. You're like, hey, why are we going to this hospital? Smells weird. I have to be hooked up to machines. Like, I don't really know what's happening. And for me, my parents were such a blessing. I hope that I can emulate a percentage of the strength that they had, because for you, like being a tough fighter, being all these things, feeling helpless, completely helpless when it comes to your kid and something that you care so much about, is just inspirational, bro. So it's like,
thank you.
It's crazy.
Thank you. Congratulations on being cancer twice. Let me tell you. From a first-hand perspective, man, congratulations. That's amazing. You never know how strong you are till you are in those situations. You can't be crying around your kid or whining or your kid can't see you weak because you're trying to...
It sets the table for them.
It sets the table and you're trying to get him strong mentally, physically. So with cancer and things like that, it's really, you're stepping into the unknown, you know what I mean? You could be good one day and the next day you're terrible. And it's you know, it's a crazy situation to be in.
We feel like rotisserie chickens in here.
Yeah, this is actually good for me because I got to fight next week.
I was gonna say, you're losing a little weight before the weight.
I'm losing a little weight, so it's a little sauna workout for me. Like, this guy's already fought 3 rounds.
Dime algo de tu mamá. La importancia de tener una mamá que es latina, que sabe lo que sabe y todo eso.
My mom's been the biggest inspiration for me. Mi mamá, you know, my mom's a person of God. She's always tried to put me in the church. You know, she's still in church to this day. She's an ordained minister. She's always preaching over me. First text I get in the morning is my mom's prayers.
Bendiciones.
Yeah. So it's really been a blessing to have my mom in my corner, you know, my whole life. Mi mamá, mi mejor amiga, she's everything. She's everything. Mi mamá todo about me. So it's amazing to have a mom like mine. She's my best friend. She's, you know, and at the end of the day, nothing beats experience, you know? Yeah. And I didn't know that as a young man. With you. She's had a bunch of experiences with me. Con el tiempo tú ves que tu mamá pasó estas cosas y te estaba diciendo las cosas para que te quedes bien y te quedes en línea. So now I can tell my son, you know, I know about gangs, I know about prison, I know about doing crime, I know about getting caught and getting away. I know the repercussions that this has on your life in the long run.
The Mount Rushmore of Miami fighters. You ready? Kimbo, Dada, you, George.
Thank you so much for putting him on that Mount Rushmore, man.
Yeah, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. I'm being honest, bro.
You know what's badass about that Mount Rushmore is that me and George both have the fastest knockouts. Yeah. He has the one in UFC. I have the fastest knockout in combat sports history. So it's awesome to represent Miami with that. You know, Kimbo was a character. He was, you know, big, crazy looking dude that was like, damn, this guy's fighting in the backyard. Dada brought the hype of the backyard to the world, you know, businessman. He's I call him Don Dada. He's like Don King, you know, he's the biggest promoter for the fights.
Congrats to you, bro. Married again, WWE star. How does that feel?
I couldn't ask for a better partner in life, man. It's just,
you see her up there on the screen. How does that make you feel?
Oh man, it's great, man. She just won the belt in Australia, just fought for the belt in Montreal for TNA. She comes home. We got belts at the house. We got pictures of us
belts at the house.
Pictures of us with our ass kicked or kicking ass, you know, and it's it's great, man. I couldn't ask for a better person in life, honestly. Thank you for helping me lose weight today at this interview.
Exactly.
It's great to have this interview here in Palacio de Jugo.
Come on,
here,
represent Miami, bro. That's what I want to do here.
Represent Miami. It's a staple in Miami. You know, they've opened up so many locations now, so it's awesome to do this here. Not in a gym where it's, you know, it's basic. Now it's out here having a real conversation.
With the people, baby.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Yes,
Mi gente, thank you for watching Tony Tonight.
That is a deep Miami cut right there. I've been proud to see how Tony has hustled his way into creating some of his own things that you can share with him on Saturday at his MMA hangout. And while I want to celebrate and compliment you for sharing your vulnerability with us and the touching parts of this story, I wasn't listening at all after I saw the word chicharrón on the screen, and I just got distracted because fried pork. I see that you guys, Mike wasn't working on Fridays before. Now Mike all of a sudden is coming in because he wants the fried pork. And I saw you guys the other day were doing just bacon sandwiches, just straight bacon sandwiches. And I'm like, I've never even heard of such a thing where it's just bread and bacon.
It's just a B.
You're in agreement with me that the Chicharrón Fridays seem to be very popular around here, where it's just fried pork out there for breakfast and cheese. There's cheese out there,
the
too.
The squeaky cheese.
Chicharrón's keto-friendly. I'm here on Fridays because of Andrew Hawkins.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's not here for the cheese.
I am not here for the cheese. Thank you, Jessica. Fried pork, I get down with that.
Chicharrón is delightful. What are you doing on Saturday, Tony? It's tomorrow night. Tell the people again so they can come join you, because you get into those Miami crevices.
Yeah, Dan, we are going to be live at Casa Tiki, the #1 bar in the world for Christmas.
Festive.
It is Christmas themed right now. Mike will probably be out there.
Yeah, I'll be out there.
Most of the team will be out there. We'll be starting off the show at 10 o'clock for UFC 310, which is stacked top to bottom as usual. Come hang out with us. The drinks are awesome. Miracle on Calle Ocho at Casa Tiki, UFC 310, MMA Hangout presented by Cuervo.
I wanted to ask you guys and ask Video to get for me the Netflix thing that we were all laughing about, the preview that came out of Enigma, the Aaron Rodgers story. But I also wanted to ask you about the story, if you guys could get me the crediting on this. I don't know who Shailene Woodley told this to, because initially she said she didn't want to talk at all about her relationship with Aaron Rodgers because it always makes her cry. And then the subsequent reporting I saw on that has her calling that relationship traumatic and toxic, which wasn't the way I was thinking of it when she initially said that the relationship makes her cry. So I am curious what you guys think also of this preview that everyone was making fun of, because
people were making fun of this trailer. Really? I wanted to see it. I understand why people... Now that I talk it out, I understand why people are going to make fun of it.
It's called Enigma.
Dude, I read an entire book trying to learn more about Aaron Rodgers, because I do think that he's an interesting case study. You can debate whether or not he's interesting. I think he's had a fascinating career with a lot of twists and turns. And more recently, I have a bunch of questions. He doesn't seem to want to give me answers with his media availabilities all that much. He just really likes to revel in the fact that I don't know the truth. So this is your truth. I'm gonna watch it. It looks super interesting. It looks like he has let them get into every aspect of his life. So I'm fascinated by this.
He's doing drugs, and we are...
Yes.
He's doing drugs.
He's on crack.
I imagine
crack.
Who was on crack?
I imagine he agreed to this when he thought this season was going to go well. He's going to be like, we're going to be in the playoffs. People are going to want to watch a doc about me. And now it's just he's bad. And it's just this doesn't slap the same as they were like 10-3.
I think there's something admirable. I'm sorry to cut you off. I think there's something admirable in him still allowing it. Like you can seize on certain immaturities in his career, and his life very much right now seems like a work in progress. I think you can afford him the ability to work it out, provided he does so responsibly with some of his platforms, and you can certainly have a go at him for that stuff. But I'm in on this, and this looks really well made, and it looks like a view of a star quarterback, one of the greatest to ever play, still in his career, by the way, that we've never had before.
This is like if The Last Dance was Michael Jordan with the Wizards. This is what this feels like. They're 3-9.
That was a much better way to describe it than he's on drugs.
Well, the other way that I was going to describe it is, you might be interested in the movie, but this, for all the weirdness around Aaron Rodgers, ex-girlfriend saying traumatic and toxic. We don't have that. I haven't seen that one. Like
actually, when it comes to him, especially if you read the book, like like the Olivia Munn thing. Like I don't like to get in too much into people's personal lives, but it's a thing. It's a thing with him, and people are fascinated. He's dated a lot of starlets.
I don't think you have to feel bad for that if he's making a Netflix documentary about his life. I don't think you have to be like, I don't want to get into his personal life. If he's like, here's my personal life. This is the stuff that I'm into right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's going to be a lot of this in there. Like, it's going to be an all-access look, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of whatever it is that she's talking about here.
I doubt that because he's clearly, like, very involved in the production of the Netflix show. But to your point, if you take out all of his, like, conspiracy theories and all the terrible things that he said from, like, a football redemption standpoint, like, we already know what's happened this year. We already know that, like, the Jets thing has been a complete failure. Yeah. So I'm curious. I probably will not watch this, but if I do, that's where my curiosity is. How honest will they be about his involvement, his role in the disaster that has been this year's Jets season?
I'm sure Robert Saleh will also describe their relationship as traumatic and toxic.
I would say that the history of sports has not seen a lot of public changes quite that looked like this one, like this kind of short-circuiting on somebody who goes from a State Farm insurance guy to all the things Aaron Rodgers has been since becoming the commercial spokesman. I'm not going to file it under fun CTE or even like the stuff happening with Antonio Brown, but there is some stuff here worth examining on the fact that we have never seen a quarterback go into this particular descent spiral. Like, it's super weird. It's a super weird thing that we just had happened to a famous person where you think differently about him now than you did even 4 years ago in a way that doesn't have a lot of things that I can compare it to in the history of the sport.
Yeah, I felt like I lost my soul, myself, my happiness, my joy. I really understood depression and anxiety and, like, complete soul detachment. Shailene Woodley, Robert Saleh, handshake me.
I would say Olivia Munn has said stuff about previous relationships that you could deduce. Now, she's never actually put it on Aaron because she doesn't speak like that, but if you parse through her interviews, the stuff that she said about her time there is a little bit more damning. I am going to watch this because something happened 4 years ago, and I'm sure throughout this, it's my best opportunity to understand what happened because I do kind of want to understand. This is a guy that is still probably, like, in terms of while he was going, was my favorite football player of all time.
You think, though, and I mean, Ian O'Connor interviewed a whole lot of people. Ian O'Connor's book, I'm guessing, is going to be better than the documentary. You
think so? No. I read the entire book with my ears. And while I enjoyed it, especially like the old Pac-12 football stuff, that was incredible. O.J. Atogwe, what a name. What a game that they had against USC. And also, they got screwed in the BCS. They lost one game to number one. Well, they dropped two, but Mac Brown's like, we belong in the Rose Bowl. BS. Anyways, he only sits down with Ian to confirm or deny some of these things and apply context for about an hour. The rest of it's Ian getting into his life, and he afforded Ian the opportunity to come and run some stuff by him. This is all Aaron. So we're not getting into his relationships with Ian O'Connor's not specifically asking Aaron about that. Aaron will just say there are two sides to every story. Well, this seems to be his entire side, and I am interested in that.
The reason that I'm asking you the question that I was is that I would assume a reporter who does not have to have the access to tell the story is going to tell a more illuminating story as someone who wants to understand Aaron Rodgers than a documentary made by Aaron Rodgers so that you understand him.
But the footage is so compelling. Like, Aaron Rodgers is at like a drugs retreat openly weeping. Like, again, went through that entire Ian O'Connor book. There was nothing that compelling.
But that's what ayahuasca is.
Yeah, every time I'm at a drug retreat, I openly weep. It's literally on the menu. Like, I'll take the openly weep piece.
It is so interesting to watch this dude just do drugs his last year in the NFL, and everybody's like, yeah, whatever.
I'll give you another hot take.
Isn't it a white privilege, before you do, isn't it a white privilege
For sure.
that he can just openly be doing this while his play just goes in the toilet?
I like to think of us all trying to do things like Stephen A. now to try to get some of that money. He's doing drugs.
I like him.
What I don't like is 40-year-old football players. That's my hot take. That you shouldn't play in the NFL 40 plus. Like, I think there's, like, once you get to that age, you start to see things from people that the general public is not
Brady won a Super Bowl over 40.
I know he
But
did.
he's
He
the
was
one.
great. He was great. But also, do you remember all the conversation around Brady? Do you remember him being really good and us being super bored? Do you remember him going through a divorce while he's playing in the NFL at 45 years old? You're not supposed
part
to
was
be
sad.
doing that. It's a tough place to go through middle age. And I feel like that's what's going on with Aaron Rodgers.
Let's open up the club so all our old asses could go into the club here.
The Cuervo Club. It's brought to you by Cuervo. Stay tuned. Now's a good time to enjoy the tequila that enjoyed. Oh man, I screwed that one up.
Invented tequila.
You know what I did? I'm so used to the damn stay tuned because you'll hear about DraftKings throughout the show. Let me start this over. The Cuervo Club, brought to you by Cuervo. Now's a good time to enjoy the tequila that invented tequila.
Attaboy.
That's going to sit with me all weekend.
Rare R.
You really cleared the floor, though. You're like, I got this. Let me go first. I got this. And whenever you do that, you fairly immediately start leaking confidence.
You usually say, what's the first sound before I've done the liner? So I tried to stop that. And this is going well so far.
What is the first sound that's allowed in the club?
There you go, Skip. Keep throwing up. Whatever you're doing up there.
Dude's throwing up in the club. Gotta get bounced.
Gotta get
There
out of
you
here.
go, Skip. Keep throwing up. Whatever you're doing up there.
That is so football, by the way. Just the muscle head. Yeah, whatever. You're hugely sick. I'm a
There you go,
winner.
Skip. Keep throwing up. Whatever you're doing up there.
It's such a point of pride to throw up.
No, but just listen to the whole thing and listen to all the other warriors laugh at the fallen
There
warrior.
you go, Skip. Keep throwing up. Whatever you're doing up there.
Nothing more noble than throwing up.
Sport is for crazy people.
There you go, Skip. Keep throwing up. Whatever you're doing up there.
I want you to imagine Chris Cody starts throwing up and all of us just being like, yeah.
There you go, Skip. Keep throwing up. Whatever you're doing
Now
up
I'm
there.
picturing Skip throwing up.
Who else is in the club?
I make a list of things that I want to cover or that I want to ask.
With his son.
Game show next Thursday, next Wednesday, whenever Samson's on with us. Is he human?
I make a list of things that I want to cover or that I want to ask.
He makes a list before going to see his son and having dinner with him so that he has conversation flowing throughout.
Yeah.
So he can pretend to be a human being. It's how an alien would try
Yep.
to trick us into thinking it was a human being.
No, I am.
You're not.
That's us asking him
You're
if
not.
he's a human.
You're not.
No, I am.
No, you're not. No.
Well, I do believe I have a tummy ache. Excuse me.
There you go, Skip. Keep throwing up. Whatever you're doing up there.
Mr. LeBatard.
I'm here for limited fake female skipper. Who else is in the club?
Are you confusing hostel and brothel?
Yeah, probably. Oh, let's go, baby.
That was amazing fluency you have in Hawk, Tony, and knowing what happened to him there.
No, I saw him stumbling around, and he's like, oh, and he would get that Riz, but then he's trying to get Riz, and I'm like, oh, wait a
Wait,
second.
wait,
He
hold
thinks
on
that
a
he's trying
minute.
to. Oh, are you confusing hostel and brothel?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Looking out for my boy. That's all.
I like him. Does he think the assassin is trying to get an afternoon delight? That made so much more sense to me.
Who else is in the club?
I open wider and he slides a large cool metal object between my... I need this. Give it to me. And I explode.
Dan, someone tweeted at me earlier today and was like, wow, it's crazy that your core memory and Dan's core memories were both bush pushes.
Ohio State.
That's the best thing we made this week.
It's a year.
I can't believe she has a wonderful singing voice. How have we not exploited this?
Are we human? Or are we Samson?
Who else is in the club? That is Rose being pepper sprayed. Despistito. Oh, man, that's a despistado.
What's up, everybody? It's Mike, and it's the holiday season. And the holiday season means family gatherings. You're going to be hosting your family, opening up your doors to, let's face it, potentially some problems. There's always family disagreements and things up for debate. Well, let me tell you something that's not up for debate. The great taste of Miller Lite. In these polarizing times, it's good to have something that we can find general consensus on, and that is that beautiful white can, Miller Lite. Is awesome. It makes any time a Miller time, and it's got tastes that you know that you can depend on. A beer that is brewed for people who actually like the taste of beer. And let's not forget, simple ingredients and the fact that Miller Lite is only 96 calories, folks. That's right, and just 3.2 grams per 12 ounces. Making memories at year-end gatherings, I ask you? Well, make those memories taste like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan and find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.